The KREF app.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
Live from the Buffalo Wild Wings studios, it's time to get locked into the best Sooner recruiting and football news with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino call-in line at 405-329-9000 or text the show at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
Oh, it's going to be a good day. It always is. You're on Locked In. This is The Ref, the home of Sooner fans. The show brought to you today by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Family owned and operated. GMC, of course, offers some of the most reliable trucks and SUVs on the road today, and the folks at Dorsey Jones are eager to assist you before, during, and after the buying process. They also offer half-price oil changes on Saturdays, so make the trek out to El Reno and check out Dorsey Jones. You want to hit us up on the text line, please do so, 405-651-3439. What are you golf clapping for?
We didn't have to recalibrate today.
No, we did not.
You drink a little bit of water?
I drank some water. I got good sleep last night. And lo and behold, I can talk again today.
There you go.
I can speak in coherent sentences once again. It's part of the reason I said it's going to be a good day. Going to be a good show. I'm committed to it. How we feeling?
I'm good, man. My girlfriend found it funny, the part where I tried to trip you up yesterday.
I tried to get me to say I was a proud boy.
She did find that funny. But, no, man, we're all good today, brother. How we feeling?
Oh, this is a great place to start today.
The Proud Boys?
No, not that. Sorry, I was already moving ahead.
Oh, okay.
Definitely not the Proud Boys. We ain't here to talk about politics.
I was about to say, what they do now?
How about today's installment of we've kind of loosely done this before, but yet again I saw this tweet and this was the first thing I thought. Did Jim Nagy say this?
Oh, okay.
You ready for this?
Okay, I'm here for this.
So Pete Nakos of On3, very prominent national college football reporter, posted a piece today entitled College Football's Transfer Portal, the biggest spenders, highest paid players, and more on the massive NIL battles. And I saw his colleague Andy Staples, my colleague Andy Staples, in the On3 network, quote tweeted it with a snippet from the article. And this was the quote that Andy quote tweeted it with. Cam Coleman had a blank check from us, an SEC general manager told On3. Trust me, he wasn't going to Texas for less. He got paid a ton. And my first thought when I read that quote was, did those words come out of Jim Nagy's mouth?
Okay, do you think he said that?
Here's the thing about quoting anonymous sources, and Pete is very, very good about gauging anonymous feedback where you can suspect which direction a soundbite came from, but you never know for sure.
Yeah.
And that, to me, reads as the type of quote that it wouldn't shock me if that originated in Norman, Oklahoma, from the mouth of Jim Nagy.
See, I don't think it came from Jim Nagy.
Who do you think it came from?
I don't know. But Jim, to me, doesn't deal in blank checks. From what I have gathered from what you've told us and how Oklahoma's kind of gone about their business, I don't think Jim Nagy deals that way. I could have seen that coming from Texas A&M. I don't know if they have a general manager. I just can't see that from Jim.
Yeah.
Knowing how he's conducted his business since he's been here.
Well, and to be clear, no one actually has a blank check. Like, there's a little bit of hyperbole baked into that statement, regardless of who it came from. Nobody in college football has a blank check. Cam Coleman can't ask for $20 million and expect to get $20 million. But we do know, like we talked about it on this show, was talked about elsewhere, Oklahoma was prepared to pay a lot of money for Cam Coleman in the transfer portal window. They were prepared to get involved in those sweepstakes, and it quickly became clear that there were other programs, including Texas and Texas Tech, most notably, that were willing to go well above and beyond the reasonable market value for a guy like Cam Coleman. And Oklahoma just kind of shifted their focus elsewhere. They went and got Trell Harris. They went and got Parker Livingston. Between the two, they spent probably half, maybe 60% of what it would have cost to acquire Cam Coleman.
And that's more along the lines of how Jim Nagy navigates this whole thing. He is a little bit more frugal, but he's also going to get a lot more bang in terms of quantity with his money. So, to me, the blank check thing, that's the complete antithesis of how he has seemed to operate. He got two guys at wide receiver for, like you said, no more than 60% of what they would have paid for Cam Coleman, and they got really good players as well. Plus, you were able to shore up the defense. They spent money at tight end. What Jim did, and this is not me saying that Oklahoma will never be able to land a high-prized fish in the transfer portal cycle in 2027, 2028, and so on. But he is not going to go but so far. And it's like, look, if you want this kind of money, you can get it from somewhere else, and I'm going to figure out another solution. Now, the Parker Livingston thing kind of just presented itself, but he's going to figure out another solution to make sure that he can knock out multiple things for the price that he could have gotten the one dude for.
Greg from Lawton on the text line says, Nagy and Oklahoma strike me as fiscally responsible.
Sure.
Unlike many politicians, Nagy and Oklahoma are indeed fiscally responsible.
Oh, there you go.
But, yeah, I mean, we know how Jim Nagy likes to use Grayson's terminology, properly price commodities. And at a certain point, Cam Coleman was just a guy they weren't going to pay for. But he got a boatload of money to go to Texas. And now the unfortunate reality therein is you have to face Cam Coleman in October.
Yeah.
In the Cotton Bowl. In Dallas. On the same field at the same time, more than likely, as Emmett Mosley and Ryan Wingo and Dalen Smothers and potentially Ray Leak Brown. That is Texas's strength in 2026. It is concentrated at the skill positions. Now, of course, as I mentioned yesterday, I went on Crane and Cone with CJ Vogel of On Texas Football to debate OU and Texas standing relative to one another in the current landscape of college football. And even a guy like CJ can acknowledge the big question for Texas in 2026 is the offensive line.
Of course.
Are they going to play well up front? Can they protect Arch Manning? Because ultimately, even if you have elite skill position weapons, your offensive line will be a limitation, and a significant one, if it is not up to snuff. In the SEC, you have to have strong play in the trenches. If Texas can figure it out in the offensive trenches, then they're probably going to be one of the more formidable offenses, maybe the most formidable offense in the conference, but it all kind of hinges upon trench play.
Yeah, and which makes it so mind-boggling that Texas blew the doors off of. I know some people are going to say it's a little bit exaggerated, but Oklahoma was never the better team in that game.
No, they were not.
It was very surprising that Texas just dominated Oklahoma like they did, because that offensive line up to that point was miserable up until that game, and then all of a sudden it looked like they got a stimulus and looked like the best offensive line in football with the way they were moving the Oklahoma defensive line. So it'll be interesting to see if they can reach the better parts of themselves prior to the Red River Showdown.
U.S. Army Sooner says this won't be popular in these parts, but Coleman is more likely to have a huge season with Arch than he would have had with John Mateer.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, because Josh and I debated Arch and John Mateer. We kicked it around yesterday.
Okay.
Who do you think, if you took the top three receivers on both Oklahoma and Texas, who's got the better receiving core? Talking about just wide receiver here for this.
I'm probably taking Texas.
It wouldn't be definitive for me. I'd take the Longhorns too. I don't think Oklahoma is at a huge disadvantage there.
They're not at a huge disadvantage. I would give the edge to Texas.
Yeah.
The margin isn't substantial, but between Mosley, Wingo, and Cam Coleman, it's hard not to like the trio that Texas is going to be able to roll out there for Arch Manning.
Especially if Mosley doesn't get hurt in the offseason, too. Because remember, he missed the first part of the year last year.
That's true. He missed, the first 5-6 games?
Yeah.
Whole first half of the season, basically. KW the 918 says, it's not guaranteed that blank check U schools can buy a national title, but so far, it's guaranteed they'll buy enough elite players that they'll prevent OU from winning a title, which is the school I care about.
I mean,
25 years and counting.
That's one way to look at it.
Yeah. I mean, that said, K-Dub, the end of Oklahoma's run came at the hands of Alabama. And if it hadn't come at the hands of Alabama, it would have come at the hands of Indiana. And neither of those schools is blank check U. So, if Oklahoma doesn't climb the mountaintop in 2026, if they don't end the drought, I don't think it's going to be because of the blank check dynamic. I think it's just going to be because of the simple fact that right now there are programs across college football that have accumulated more talent than Oklahoma, have better coaching than Oklahoma, and are overall aligned better towards championship contention than Oklahoma. Now, there aren't a plethora of those schools. It's not as if Oklahoma is sitting in the middle of the pack in the Power Four in that department, but there are programs that are superior to Oklahoma in that sense. Indiana is certainly one. They just won the national title. I would say on the whole, Alabama's probably another one. And the discrepancy between the two was highlighted in that December college football playoff semifinal game. Yeah, Oklahoma got the better of the Crimson Tide in Tuscaloosa back in November, but even that win felt a little bit fluky when you looked at Oklahoma's overall offensive output versus Alabama's output, and the fact that Oklahoma was able to generate 3 turnovers. Like that was a game that could just as easily have gone the other direction if everything hadn't kind of broken Oklahoma's way throughout the course of that game. So I would say there are at least 5 or 6 programs across the country right now that are objectively better equipped to compete for championships in 2026 and just in general than Oklahoma. And Oklahoma's task moving forward, their task in 2026, is to continue to close that gap.
Yeah.
With that upper echelon in the sport.
And I think Miami is in that upper echelon as well, the national runner-up.
Yeah.
It's interesting you say that game felt a little fluky in Tuscaloosa because I am workshopping a theory right now. With the way Oklahoma won a bunch of those games against their elite opponents last year, you know that rule in the NFL where the teams that win a bunch of one-score games, it kind of regresses back to the mean the next year?
The 2015 Carolina Panthers.
The 2015 Carolina Panthers, the 2024 Kansas City Chiefs, and this year's Chicago Bears.
So what you're saying is...
I'm still workshopping this because I'm not sure how it translates to college, but I kicked this around with Josh off the air. What happens if Oklahoma doesn't win a bunch of those one-score games? And in the manner that in which they did, if you remember that. It made me think of that when you said that Alabama game felt a little bit fluky.
OU Smash says Jim Nagy is playing chess. You get the other guys to spend all of their money on the blank check type players, and you have your eye on the other players all along. And if that's the case, OU Smash, what you should see in 2026, is an Oklahoma roster that is incredibly balanced. And I think on paper it looks that way. And that's what I'm encouraged by, Grayson. The fact, the reality that at least in the hypothetical realm, which does not actually exist, but if we're looking at it based on the way that it appears on paper, there are no glaring weaknesses for Oklahoma's roster in 2026. Now, they don't have the strengths that some other programs have at one particular position group or a couple particular position groups, but they don't have any glaring, obvious weaknesses. And so, can you leverage that balance to your advantage and find a winning recipe in the Southeastern Conference when you're going to have to be playing one of the toughest schedules in America once again? That's what it comes down to.
No doubt about it. Going back to the Jim Nagy-ish quote that was in question, 5-star Brian and Bixby said, not a chance in hell that came from Jim Nagy. By the way, First Liberty Bank text line.
Recruiting Boomer Ads, did you really just say that win was fluky to the offensive output of Tuscaloosa, but you had the better output in Norman, and Bama had more turnovers, and that wasn't fluky? Come on, Parker. Recruiting Boomer, listen. When you look at, and I'm not a huge analytics guy in general, but there are plenty of metrics that are worth paying attention to. And when you look at the post-game win probability metrics for that Oklahoma and Alabama game in November, I'm pretty sure, based on the statistics, there's a metric that measures win probability based on the statistical output from both teams. And Oklahoma's win probability just based on the numbers was like 4%. Absurdly low. One of the lowest ever recorded. And so, Oklahoma won the game, and it gave credit to them for winning the game. We gave credit to them at the time, but we can also acknowledge, hey, if that game goes the way it does, 95 times out of 100, Oklahoma's going to wind up on the losing end. There were many different instances at which that game could have gone the other direction. It didn't. Oklahoma got the win, a hard-fought win at that, a win that changed the course of their season.
Yeah.
But it is also fair to say that recipe that they found in Tuscaloosa isn't necessarily a recipe that you can transplant and expect to win with every single week. And that was another thing we talked about at the time.
It was. And not only that, remember what else we talked about a lot last year? We talked about that same thing multiple times. Tennessee game. Tate Sandell's knocking in multiple 50-yarders. You get a scoop and score. And all that offsets the fact that John Mateer almost threw it away even still. You know, the LSU game, the offense played literally terribly. Mm-hmm. I mean, John Mateer was horrible in that game. So there were multiple instances of this sort of thing where we're like, you can't keep doing this, you can't keep doing this. And then they kept riding it all the way to the playoff. At some point, and it may be 2026, it may not be 2026, history will tell you there is a regression to the mean.
There is, but I think Oklahoma can offset that if they just quit engaging in some of the self-sabotage tactics that we saw throughout the 2025 season.
This is also true.
If you just clean some of that stuff up
yes,
going into 2026, you will be able to win a lot of football games. And I expect Oklahoma to win a lot of football games because they're going to be stronger all around. I think when you look at the roster, they will have a stronger roster in 26 than they had in 2025. It is a more experienced roster. And there should be fewer mistakes, fewer compromising mistakes, due in no small part to the fact that your quarterback ought to be playing the entire season without a surgically repaired thumb.
This is also very true.
So,
that variable should be removed.
405-651-3439. Hit us up on the text line. Coming up next, we will pivot, talk some recruiting. A couple sleeper official visitors that we haven't spent a great deal of time discussing on this show that we need to dig into when we return. So quick word from our sponsors. Keep it here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans. You're listening to Locked In.
Locked In is brought to you every day by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Dorsey Jones GMC is family-owned and operated with a knowledgeable, low-pressure sales staff here to help you through the buying process and half-price oil changes on Saturdays. Visit dorsey-jonesgmc.com for more information.
When it comes to buying a home, you need a winning game plan. At Stride Bank, our mortgage team helps you get from kickoff to closing with competitive rates, local expertise, and personalized service. Whether it's your first home or your forever home, we'll be right there on the field with you. Learn more at stridebank.com. Stride Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Stride Bank on your team since 1913 with Oklahoma roots and nationwide reach.
Children's Health Foundation has improved the lives of Oklahoma children with research, education, and care. For more than 40 years, Children's Health Foundation has raised over $155 million towards 18 pediatric initiatives, including cancer and heart programs. 75% of Oklahoma pediatricians are supported by Children's Health Foundation, and every cent raised stays in the state of Oklahoma. Change kids' health, change the future. Learn more at chfkids.com.
Are you ready for spring sports season? Gear up like a champion with Balfour & Norman's exclusive apparel for OU softball, baseball, and gymnastics. From the diamond to the gym, we've got the latest shirts, hats, and fan gear that show your Sooner pride in style. Whether you're cheering in the stands or repping your team around town, Balfour of Norman has you covered. Visit us today on Campus Corner or online at crimsonproud.com. Balfour of Norman, where you'll find everything Sooner.
The big dance and big-time prizes are almost here from the home of Sooner fans. Mark your calendars on Monday, March 16th for the Refs' 25th annual 68-team giveaway at the newly renovated Buffalo Wild Wings in Moore off 19th Street from noon to 7 for your chance to win with the big dance or one of our many instant prizes. That's the Refs' 25th annual 68-team giveaway presented by Riverwind Casino, the Central Oklahoma GMC dealers, and Buffalo Wild Wings on Monday, March 16th.
Tired of feeling pressured by salespeople when shopping for auto insurance? At Right Way Insurance, there's no hard sell, just a clear, straightforward approach. We work with multiple insurance companies to give you the best options and rates with no gimmicks. You'll get the right coverage tailored to your needs, all while avoiding hidden fees and confusing policies. So if you're ready for a better experience with auto insurance, visit rightwayinsuranceok.com or call 405-607-6014 for your free quote today. Right Way Insurance, no pressure, just the right insurance for you.
My fiance is a veteran.
I did tours in Korea, Germany, and Bosnia before I got injured.
When Yusuf got out of the military, he needed help getting his disability benefits.
Luckily, DAV came to the rescue. They fought for me the same way that I fought for my country.
Every year, DAV provides life-changing support to more than 1 million veterans.
My victory is never giving up and finding more ways to serve.
He's pretty amazing.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Coach Stoops here for Van Hoos Fence. If you want to work with the best local fence company and get championship service, contact my friend Mark and the Van Hoos Fence team. Van Hoos Fence gives each customer the most professional craftsmanship and competitive pricing in Oklahoma. From wood to chain link to vinyl to metal fences, the Van Hoos Fence team does it all. Contact the Fencing All-Americans at Van Hoos Fence, 405-735-1167 or vhfence.com.
It is Locked In on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton here with you. Interacting with all of you that care to interact via the First Liberty Bank text line, 405-651-3439. Jason in Moore hit us up and said, headed to Stephenville, Texas for work. Took a detour to drive by Denton Guyer because OU has a few guys from there. Mm-hmm. And can I just say, holy crap! I know this doesn't fit in the flow of your show because I just started the YouTube feed about 20 minutes late, but yeah, it's an amazing facility.
Oh, it's outstanding.
We're just now pivoting to recruiting, Jason and more. So that text is right on schedule because OU has a very prominent 4-star target in the 2027 class from Denton Guyer High. That, of course, is Zane Rowe. And, there is a lot of money that has been invested into football in North Texas at the high school level. All of those schools, for the most part, just have incredible facilities there up on the north side. I mean, Melissa has a nicer stadium than plenty of FBS colleges do. Salina has an awesome new stadium.
You've been to Prosper's?
I've been to Prosper's. Yep, Prosper does as well. I think Salina's might actually still be under construction. I don't even know if it's finished yet, but if and when it is finished, it's going to be a phenomenal facility. And, I mean, you can just go on down the list. You got Lovejoy up there. You have, who the heck else? Allen was kind of the gold standard in Texas high school football for about a decade there. Especially during the Kyler Murray years. They have an incredible stadium. Yeah, a lot of those football factories up in the upper northern area of the DFW suburbs. They got it going. Ain't no doubt about it. Speaking of Dallas, there is an official visitor pending for Oklahoma. Just set up his visit yesterday. And this is a blue chip prospect, Grayson Singleton, one that we have not talked a ton about, but Oklahoma's been pursuing him now for almost 2 years. I believe they offered him, if I'm not mistaken, back in the summer of 2024. It's been a relatively quiet process, and there are other schools involved, but here is Oklahoma getting ready to take their shot at blue chip offensive tackle Brian Swanson out of South Oak Cliff. By the way, if you hear me refer to SOC throughout this conversation, that is the acronym for South Oak Cliff. It's known colloquially as SOC.
Correct.
In Texas high school circles. So, Brian Swanson is from SOC. Blue chip offensive tackle, has the ability to play inside, has the ability to play outside, and Jim Nagy has referenced the reality that they want to find guys in the offensive line that are capable of playing multiple positions, that offer some position versatility, and Swanson does. The leader in his recruitment for the longest time, in the mind of the collective, the industry as a whole, I should say, has been Texas. So, Oklahoma's going to have to upend the Longhorns if they want to land Swanson's pledge. But this would be significant, Grayson, if they could pull this off, because I got to research. I probably should have done this before the show when I had some time on my hands, but it's been a good long while since Oklahoma signed somebody out of SOC. At least a decade?
Who was
if
the
I'm
last
not mistaken? I'm trying to think who the last one was. The text line probably will have the answer for us faster than I can come up with it. But it's been a good long time since Oklahoma cracked SOC. They tried to last cycle with linebacker Jamarian Phillips, who wound up choosing Baylor over the Sooners. So it's kind of like Duncanville in the sense that it's one of those schools where Oklahoma's tried. They've made an effort over the years to get in there, and they just haven't been able to do it. They haven't been shut out completely. It's not like DeSoto where Oklahoma pretty much has no hope of getting in there for the foreseeable future. But SOC is another one of those Dallas schools that the Sooners just have not been able to establish a strong presence within.
Yeah, and Swanson's a good player, too. Like you mentioned, versatility is what stands out. And I've did a segment on this guy with my SMU show as well, because the Mustangs are involved here, even though Texas is the clear leader. And there might be a prediction in.
I believe there are a few.
There are predictions in for Texas to land him. But, I mean, he seems to be very open and receptive to Oklahoma, hence the reason that he books an OV. But here's what he told Sam Spiegelman. He said, the staff at Oklahoma has been consistent, hitting me up often and showing exactly how I fit into their plans, and they're making it clear that I'm a priority. So you're going to get your shot at him. You just obviously are going to hope that this is something that trickles into OV season, because there's a prediction that is already in so early. But if they can get their shot, I mean, shoot, Brent Venables and this staff has cemented itself as really good salespeople, both to players and to coaches as well. So you'll feel all right as long as they're able to get him in-house and he gives you a fair shot at him.
By the way, Glenn from Nashville did come up with what I believe offhand is the correct answer. Oklahoma signed 3-star safety Prentice McKinney out of SOC in the class of 2015. So you're going back 12 years for the last time that Oklahoma was able to tap into South Oak Cliff. And isn't this fascinating, Grayson? Not just the fact that Brian Swanson has kind of come into the crosshairs as a target for Oklahoma, but it does make you wonder, how many offensive linemen are they willing to take?
Yeah.
This is going to be a huge class at this point. Evidently, Oklahoma would like for it to be a huge class. I don't know what else that says when they're welcoming Brian Swanson to campus for an official visit, because they have 3 commits and 3 solid commits. Cooper Hackett, Caden Penny, Luke Wilson.
Yes.
Unless something changes drastically, and I mean drastically, they are going to wind up landing Gus Corsair and Tyson Ross out of the state of Kansas. Oklahoma is the clear front runner in both of those processes. And so that's 5. So you're looking at potentially 6. 6 offensive linemen?
Yeah, but remember this, and I know you, of all people, haven't forgotten. They only signed 2 in 2026.
That is true.
So you've got to average that out at some point.
And, it makes more sense when you consider, because I think many people's my first thought was, well, when you only sign 2 and you're already kind of thin at offensive tackle specifically, when you look at the current depth chart, the roster breakdown, the scholarship breakdown, well, you got to supplement that with some portal acquisitions because you got to have guys that are ready to play and ready to contribute, that are ready to play and ready to contribute if need be. But going back to January, Grayson, what was one of the things we talked about at the time? As part of the reason Oklahoma struggled to recruit offensive tackles in the transfer portal, the numbers were outrageous.
Yeah.
Oklahoma had to drop a good chunk of change on Amarian Harris. And I know they put a red eye on several other transfer offensive tackles, but ultimately had to back out because they were getting paid, according to some sources I talked to, sometimes 3 times what Oklahoma appraised as their reasonable market value.
Yeah.
Febechi Wiwu has a younger brother, Chimdia, that started out his college career at Stephen F. Austin and was a highly coveted option in the transfer portal last month. He wound up at Florida State, and he was one of those guys that, if you rewind the clock 5 years, he probably winds up at Oklahoma just because of the family connection. But the market got so inflated for offensive tackles in the portal window that Oklahoma couldn't afford him.
Yeah,
or not that they couldn't afford him. They didn't want to pay what he was asking when you only have such a pool of money that you need to allocate so many other places as
Exactly. And basically what you're hinting at is that you've got to make it your number one priority to develop the cornerstone positions in-house because the cost of retention is always going to be much, much lower than going out into the portal and plugging holes that way. You do get a discount for developing your guys that you are able to sign out of high school. So if you're Oklahoma, for that reason alone, it makes sense to take all these offensive linemen, but also for the fact that we got to make up for only taking 2 in 2026 because if you can grow an entire offensive line together, you are setting yourself up for major success without having to pay the premium dollars to do so.
And that's kind of where it all clicked for me is when I realized, well, that's why it makes sense for Oklahoma to take 6, maybe up to 7 or 8 offensive linemen in the 2027 cycle because it's just way cheaper. It's way cheaper to sign these guys out of high school right now than it is to go get them in the transfer portal. But what that demands, right, is that demands strong evals. You have to have guys that you feel very confident are going to hit and be ready to play early. And I'll tell you, Oklahoma feels that way about the one tackle that they took in the 26 class in Deacon Schmidt. Mm-hmm. They love Deacon Schmidt, and they think he's going to be an early impact guy if Oklahoma needs him to be an early impact guy. You have to find more of those dudes if you're going to take a heavy class. And Cooper Hackett and Caden Penny, obviously those guys fall into the early impact category. Luke Wilson, he offers some of that same upside. By the end of his high school career, he will have been a 3-year starter with experience at both left tackle and right tackle for one of the top high school programs in the Lone Star State in South Lake Carroll.
Yeah.
Gus Corsair, Tyson Ross, interior guys. Ross is a lot newer to football. He might be a little bit more of a developmental project because last year was his first year of playing offensive line and only his second year of playing organized football. By the way, did you know this about Tyson Ross?
What's that?
I found this out over the weekend. His athletic background is primarily in what sport, if you had to guess?
Soccer?
Not soccer.
Okay, I've heard that story before.
Uh-huh. Michael Fasusi.
Yeah. Hockey?
Not hockey.
Cricket?
Tennis.
Really?
He was apparently a high-level tennis player.
Really?
Growing up. I think he was the Kansas state champion in 7th grade, as the story goes. Like, undefeated tennis player. Not only a tennis player, but a unit of a tennis player. A force of a tennis player.
Well, he's a unit of a human.
Yes. And he didn't start playing football until his sophomore year of high school, didn't start playing offensive line until this past fall at Andover. And so the fact that Tyson Ross's tape is as impressive as it is for somebody that only just started playing offensive line literally last year, that gets you really excited about what that dude could be.
Yeah, no doubt.
If Bill Bedenbaugh gets his hands on him. But, yeah, if you're taking Brian Swanson, if you're taking a guy of that ilk, I think you throw him in the same category as Luke Wilson in that he's a relatively easy guy to bet on. Because by the end of his high school career, he will have been a 3-year starter at the highest competitive level in the Texas prep ranks.
Yeah.
And if you need a guy to play early, bet on a kid from the state of Texas. That generally holds true.
That usually will work out for you. We had a couple questions on the First Liberty Bank text line. Why is Oklahoma shut out of DeSoto?
There's not one singular reason. But here is what I will say. It's a combination of a lot of factors over the years. Here is what I will say. And I know it's all too easy to scapegoat this guy, and I promise I'm not doing that in undue fashion here. But Lincoln Riley really put Oklahoma behind the 8 ball at DeSoto because he was not intentional at all while he was head coach about maintaining a presence at that school. Physically speaking, like going down to DeSoto and interacting with that coaching staff, building the relationship, building the familiarity. And the University of Texas, conversely, has always been quite intentional about that. And that's part of the reason why DeSoto is regarded as kind of a Texas feeder school. That's the connotation that it carries. Frisco Sooner wanted to know, didn't Emmett Jones used to coach at DeSoto? If he was such a great recruiter, why can't he break through there? No, Frisco Sooner, but this is relevant to the Brian Swanson conversation, where Emmett Jones did coach with South Oak Cliff.
South Oak Cliff,
yeah,
yes.
He was the head coach there from 2012 to 2014. So he has a background there.
Bob from Submit with a very Bob from Submit question. Who cusses more off air, Parker or Grayson? I'll let you give a guess in 3, 2, 1, and you'll probably be correct. I've never heard Parker say one curse word in my life. And I've been at the station, 2 years now, pretty much?
Let me put it this way. I speak as if I'm always being monitored by the FCC.
Yeah.
It's about the best way I can sum it up.
That's an accurate way of saying that.
Gunny wants to know what was Tyson Ross before he was an offensive lineman. He spent the first year of his high school football career playing defensive line. And it's a really cool story. He showed up at the wrong lineman workout one day. He was supposed to show up with the defensive lineman for a workout, showed up with the offensive lineman instead. It's like, heck, all right, we'll try it out. We'll see what happens. And he was so good that the coaches decided, okay, you're an offensive lineman now. And indeed, he had a really strong junior season to the point where the people whose opinions carry weight up in the state of Kansas, I think most specifically of my good buddies Kevin Flaherty and Ryan Wallace, who cover the prep scene in the Sunflower State as well as anybody, they are of one mind in proclaiming that Tyson Ross is the best player in the state of Kansas for the 27 cycle.
Man.
It's neck and neck between him and Corsair, but they both give the edge to Tyson Ross.
I don't know if this is a carryover from you and Steely's show, but 3-star Colin Claremore asks me, Grayson, would you trust anything Sydney Sweeney told you?
Well, what's your answer?
It depends on what she's talking about.
So no is the answer.
I would not trust anything that she says, no.
Okay. We were talking about who could be the modern-day Walter Cronkite, who could be the most trusted man and or woman in America. Somebody said Sydney Sweeney. I don't know why.
You know who I'll tell you it is?
Who's that?
Mike Tirico. If Mike Tirico told me something, I would believe him.
Even Mike Tirico, though, like he's got a little bit of a checkered past that some people still hold against him.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're talking about the Italian thing?
The Italian thing?
Oh, really? Oh, you don't know about this one.
Clearly, I don't know about the Italian thing. I was thinking about something else completely separate.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, the Italian. I don't even know what that is.
Oh, okay. Wow. I thought you would have known what that one is.
Okay, 405-651-3439. You want to fire questions or comments at us, or you want to fill me in on the quote-unquote Italian thing with Mike Tirico, please do so. We got one segment coming up here on The Ref. This is Locked In. We'll wrap up next.
Do you eat, sleep, and breathe Sooner football? We do too. This is The Ref, home of Sooner fans. The Ref is once again your home for chaos. Every game-changing hit.
Long fly ball to left. Track. Wall. Gone.
Every strikeout.
Got him. Swinging.
Every defensive gem.
He caught it. He caught it.
Every game. All year.
And you can unhitch the wagon.
The Ref has you covered.
Catch Sooner Baseball this Tuesday and Wednesday against the Arizona State Sun Devils at 4 p.m. on The Ref and worldwide on the KREF app.
Life is yours to spend. Spend it making more money. Spend it making more memories. Spend it learning a new skill. Spend it teaching an old trick. Spend it career climbing. Spend it mountain climbing. First United Bank. Spend life wisely.
Hey, it's Chris Plank here from my friend Mandy and everyone at Sooner Bowling Center in Norman. Are you looking for the perfect place to plan your group event? Sooner Bowling Center in Norman has you covered. Whether it's a school outing, fundraiser, or sports banquet, Sooner Bowl is the place. With fantastic catering options from Social Butterfly to private meeting rooms, you could bowl, meet, and eat. Spots are filling up fast. Make your next event a striking success. Visit SoonerBowl.com.
They say if you don't like the weather in Oklahoma, wait 5 minutes and check it again. Nope, not there yet. Ah, that's more like it. Being comfortable is important, and if it's -5 degrees or 100 degrees, Norman Air has you covered. Our impeccable quality and unbeatable service is what sets us apart from our competitors. It's just part of our mission to keep Oklahoma comfortable. Visit normanair.com for all your heating, air, plumbing, and electrical needs. Norman Air, service to the max.
This winter, hit the court and join the action. The Youth Winter Basketball League is here, open to athletes of all skill levels. Build your game, make new friends, and compete in a fun, supportive environment. With flexible registration options and volunteer coaches focused on teamwork, there's a spot for everyone, whether you're playing for fun or aiming to compete. Don't miss out on early bird pricing. Scholarships are available for Norman residents based on need. Sign up today and make this season unforgettable. Visit YFACsport.com. It's our President's Day sales event at Lander CDJR of Norman. Take up to $14,000 off of MSRP on select new 2025 Jeep Gladiator Sports, or get up to $12,750 off of new 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokees. And as always, straightforward internet pricing with no special add-ons when you get here. Gladiator stock number SL534894. Grand Cherokee stock number SC346406.
A happy place comes in many colors. One that leaves you feeling refreshed. Something that gets you all fired up. Or gives you the space to chill. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Enjoy a highly realistic golf experience with no interruptions from weather, all powered by the latest golf simulation technology. This is Tyler McComas inviting you to check out Land Run Links, the perfect place for any golfer. Pick the membership that fits your needs. Pay just $60 per hour or opt for unlimited monthly play starting at $189. Need more time on the course? Add it for only $20 per additional hour. Reserve tee times for up to 4 hours and play on your schedule. We're open every day from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Head over to landrunlinks.com and elevate your swing today.
Locked in here on the Ref, Parker Thune, Grayson Singleton. Learned during the break that Grayson is questionable for tomorrow's show with a groin injury.
That's insane.
You have to use. You ever used Absorbian Junior?
Absorbian Junior?
Yeah.
No.
That was what I grew up on, man. It's like this menthol, kind of like a numbing fluid.
Yeah.
Feels really, really good on sore muscles.
See, I always used BioFreeze.
Really?
Yeah.
That's I guess what I use now. Well, my wife uses it, and so when I do have a sore muscle, I just have her spray me with BioFreeze.
Oh, you have the spray stuff.
Yeah, the spray stuff, and I think she has.
I have like the roller.
Yeah, I think she's got the roller as well. But yeah, hope you get that groin worked out.
Yeah, man. Don't use adductor machines at the gym, or at least don't use them too heavy.
Those can be perilous. Gotta be careful with the adductor machines.
I thought I was going okay, and like I didn't feel it. And then this morning I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be a problem."
Jay in Tulsa on the text line says, "I just logged on to the YouTube stream to see Parker is a white dude. WTF?" I will never beat those allegations, folks. I am about as white as it gets. Scandinavian.
Is that where you're from?
Pure Scandinavian. That's me.
Okay.
My ancestors' last name was Yelsvik.
Yeah,
until they got to Ellis Island, and the people at Ellis Island told them, "Nope, your last name is Thune now." So,
okay,
that's how I became me.
Interesting.
That's at least the 10-second version.
Texter in the 214 said, "There are good preachers' kids, and there are ornery PKs. Parker is a good one. I can tell because I am one." Like, do we need to change the name of this show to The Good and the Ornery PK?
Oh, man, that's kind of a mouthful.
Yeah, it's just a little bit. It doesn't roll off the tongue like Locked In.
Yeah, 2 PKs, though, on the same radio show. Who would have thought? Who would have guessed?
Is there another show in all of America with that?
Oh, somewhere in Alabama? Absolutely.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
Yeah, I would guess there are multiple such shows across the Deep South.
Yeah.
A 405 listener says, "Wait until that texter sees Grayson." Well, if he logged into YouTube stream today, he saw Grayson too.
Yeah. Papa Boganowski says, "Grayson, no man uses the adductor machine at the gym."
Ooh.
Oh, wait till you see the dudes that use that hip thrust.
Oh no.
Now,
are there dudes at your gym doing that?
Sometimes. Sometimes. Now, hip thrusts are actually very beneficial to do, but no, I do not use it. I do not use it to like as an actual exercise. I use it to warm up. Just as a warm up.
So you're not going too heavy though.
No, two set warm up, and then let's get out of here.
There you go. The realist says the goody two shoes and the potty mouth show.
Why does that sound? Why does that sound? That sounds like a mid '80s like sitcom or something, or like some mid '80s like daytime talk show.
Oh yeah, trust me. Grayson is not terribly high on the list of people in my life whom I would designate under the potty mouth category. There are many others that fit that description.
You could do a lot worse than me.
A lot worse.
Believe
me.
Yeah.
A lot worse. Deval Sooner says, "Try Tiger Balm." Tiger Balm was the stuff back in my high school baseball days.
I never used Tiger Balm because all of my teammates in high school, we all used BioFreeze. So that's what I've been using since I was like 14.
Okay. I guess BioFreeze is to Texas what Tiger Balm is to Nebraska. Brad Mustang to that point. Seriously, Parker is from Nebraska. The only black people in Nebraska are on the football and basketball teams. Come on, Brad. That ain't true.
Okay. Let's be a little bit real here.
Now, okay.
Are there a lot of black people in Nebraska?
So here's what you got to understand about Nebraska. You have Omaha.
That's a great way to answer that question.
You have Omaha, you have Lincoln, and then you have the western 85% of the state that is all just sparse farm towns. In that region of the state, you probably don't have many black
probably people. Would not be hanging out there.
But Omaha, and to a lesser extent Lincoln, pretty diverse. I mean, yeah, trust me, growing up in Omaha, Omaha is as much of a melting pot, much more so than you will find anywhere else in the state of Nebraska, as it usually is with big cities, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, all those small rural communities out in the central and western parts of the state, I can't imagine there's a lot of diversity out there. I've never spent a whole lot of time out there, but what time I did spend through the years, driving around to baseball tournaments and all that type of stuff, yeah. Brad from Mustang adds, my wife has family in Alma, Nebraska. Where is Alma, Nebraska? Is that South Central, I want to say? South Central Nebraska? Let me know if I'm on the right track, though. Brad from Mustang.
Gunny says, take away the two cities and there might be 12 black folk in Nebraska.
Well,
I mean, hey. You're probably right.
You might not be wrong. You might not be wrong. Blue Sooner says it's the only blue county in Nebraska. I think. Which county is that?
Which county?
Yeah. I don't think it's the county that holds Alma, Nebraska.
Yeah, that don't sound right.
Jay in Tulsa says, Icy Hot was my pain relief ointment of choice. That stuff was beyond pungent. Verified Sooner says, this reminds me of the day I found out Craig Humphreys was a white guy. I was shocked. And, yep, there you go. Brad from Mustang says, just over the Kansas border.
Nice.
I still know my Nebraska geography.
I was about to say, I have not – I still have never set foot in the state of Nebraska.
Really?
No, I mean, I only stepped foot in the state of Kansas for the first time in July after my girlfriend and I started dating.
Nebraska is an upgrade over Kansas. Don't tell your girlfriend I said that.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Because
Nebraska's better than Kansas.
I'm not going to lie to you. I don't mind Kansas. I like Kansas.
Kansas is okay.
I mean, I know downtown Kansas City is in Missouri, but
yeah.
I mean, I like the parts of Kansas that I've been to.
Kansas is okay. Nebraska's better.
Okay.
Zach and Purcell, look at this. We have so many Nebraska connections on the text line. Born in Imperial, Nebraska. Mom's family still lives there in southwest Nebraska. Not diverse at all.
I'm not going to lie. I never thought I would be interacting with this many Nebraskans at one time.
Oh, locked in, folks. That's what this show is about. Bringing people together from all walks of life and all regions of the country. That's what we excel at. Now, there's one other official visitor that's a little bit of a surprise that I wanted to get to. And to be clear, I do think there's a decent chance this official visit never actually happens in talking to some sources close to the recruitment. I think this is one that may come off the schedule as this kid starts to zero in on the finalists for his commitment. Like, I don't get the sense Oklahoma is the leader here or anything more than just kind of a player for the moment. I don't think they lead. They might be top 3, but there are going to be some obstacles to getting this kid to campus for his official visit. But Demani Warren out of Las Vegas, 2-sport stud, big-time hooper, wide receiver on the gridiron, 6'4", 210 pounds, big kid. And he at one point, Grayson, was a top 5 wide receiver in the 2027 cycle. That is no longer the case. He has dropped all the way out of the Rivals 300, out of the blue chip tier. He's considered a 3-star prospect now by both Rivals and 24/7. And the reason for that is because he underwent off-season surgery before his junior year, and that surgery didn't entirely keep him off the field, but was enough to prevent him from making any significant impact on the football field as a junior. So that's a guy whose recruitment naturally changed quite a bit when he underwent the surgery and he essentially missed an entire season of football. But he's set for an official visit to Oklahoma, tentatively speaking right now, June 12th through the 14th at the Champ U Barbecue. And to me, this is the type of guy that kind of fits the bill of what we've been talking about the last couple of weeks in examining Oklahoma's wide receiver board. They have Demari DeJean committed. They have Trayvon Hall committed. We feel good about Oklahoma eventually landing Graydon Howell, who's now a blue chipper as well from Broken Bow, Oklahoma. But if at any point you start to feel like Demari DeJean's slipping away or Trayvon Hall's slipping away, then Demani Warren is theoretically the type of guy you could make a hard push for. And you could probably land him if you went all out for a kid like this.
So why do you think the OV could come off the board?
Well, because, how do I put this? There are 2 parties involved in the recruiting process, the school and the kid, right? Mm-hmm. And so if the kid starts to feel at any point, or his people start to feel at any point like he's not a huge priority for Oklahoma, then he may just decide, okay, I'm going to focus more specifically on some of the other options that I have. And
gotcha.
I think that could happen with Demani Warren because from what I've come to understand, there's a realization in his circle that he's not a super high priority guy for Oklahoma. At least they haven't necessarily treated him like that to this point. So I guess it comes down to, does Oklahoma put the pedal to the metal for this kid come April or May? Like, do they start really, really pressing leading into OV season? Do they have a reason to do that? If so, great. They'll probably have a strong chance. If not, I don't know that this OV ever actually comes to fruition.
Makes sense.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Chris from Knoxville says, we lost our Las Vegas pipeline, so he gone. LOL. JK, kind of. Yeah, DeMarco Murray. No longer on staff, which means you don't have the plug in Vegas anymore. Because DeMarco Murray, for years, was the type of guy that he set foot in the city of Vegas, people knew who he was.
Probably a tomorrow conversation, but we haven't talked about that. Does that hinder Oklahoma recruiting in the Las Vegas area with DeMarco Murray no longer being here?
Yeah. Let's talk about that tomorrow. How about we do that?
Let's do it.
Why don't y'all come back with us tomorrow? We will be right back here, same time, same place, here on The Ref, the home of Sooner fans. The Rush is coming up next with Tyler and Ted. We'll see you tomorrow.